Okay. Hi everyone. I just want to say a big thank you for spending your Friday with us. We really value your presence, and we just hope that you leave with something useful and something that you can implement in your business. So while the presentation is going, we just ask that you please mute your mic. Feel free to leave any questions in the chat, and my colleague will do their best to answer the questions as the presentation go along. And we will also have a time at the end where we'll open up the floor for any questions. So, we have somebody new coming in. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're super excited to have you join us as we guide you through the basics of SEO, as well as learn some effective methods that you can look into today to boost your business's ranking. I'd like to preface by saying that this presentation will be recorded, so don't worry about taking notes. If there's anything you missed, you will have a copy of the presentation sometime this week. You can look over and review again. So I'd like to formally introduce myself. My name is Ruben. I am a digital marketing specialist at Digital Consultants. And on my other end is my partner, Lsi, who is a digital marketing specialist. Both of us have a background in marketing as well as user experience design. So today we will be touching on the area of SEO, or search engine optimization. It's a very common practice, and it's important to implement it in your online marketing and building your brand online. It may seem daunting at first, but once you get the ball rolling and take it one step at a time to build momentum, you'll be handling it like a pro. So this presentation will, of course, answer the question, what is SEO and how it benefits your business? It'll also be breaking down SEO and the various techniques, as well as practical takeaways you can start looking into and considering today. So let's take a dive into what search engine optimization is. It's the practice of increasing the quality and quantity of traffic to your website through organic search results, as Moz.com puts it. As the presentation goes along, you'll start to understand how this is the end goal of gaining higher quality and quantity traffic. In essence, SEO is one small part of the marketing spectrum. It almost works together in cohesion in order to best position your brand. So how do search engines work? Search engines have three primary functions: crawling, indexing, and ranking. Crawling essentially is a discovery of new pages, finding new links and pages within pre-existing pages on your website. This allows the search engines to add more pages to the search engine database. It is also important for the user for when they do not understand a term and they want to backtrack on how they got to a certain page. They're able to open up other pages and link it to other sources. Indexing is storing the pages in the search engine database. Think of it as all the pages on your website that are connected. If a web page is not properly linked, it makes it very difficult to navigate to, which could severely hurt your ranking. This is just one ranking factor that search engines consider. Ranking is based on the position of where your website sits on the search for what people search for specific keywords or terms, which we'll get into later in the presentation. Breaking down SEO further, there are different branches and techniques to consider when trying to boost your ranking. We will touch on these later in the presentation, but I just wanted to get you acquainted with some of the terminology. So some of you might be wondering why SEO is so important and why you need to start thinking about it. There are three main reasons that are as follows. You'll get more meaningful traffic, meaning that it's targeted and tailored to your audience. You'll appear more credible, being ranked first or high enough on popular search engines, such as Google. And overall, in turn, you'll be creating a good user experience for those who come onto your website. Take a second and think about it. Say you had an upset stomach and you wanted to search Google for homemade remedies to cure your stomach pains. Are you more likely to click on the first 1 to 3 or even 4 links, or would you even bother going to the second page? When was the last time you even hit the second page of Google when finding an answer to your question, or you're looking for a product? Would you ever go to the second page? About 75% of people do not scroll past the first page of Google. Do you think the second page is credible? Would you trust anything that you would find on the second page as much as the first page? That's just something to think about. So, the ranking in the long term really helps, build your brand. So moving on to the 3 SEO techniques you should consider: on page, off page, and technical aspects. Think of on-page aspects as aspects within your website, creating quality content where users can obtain the right information when they need it, and aspects they can explore the website through links, helping with crawling and indexing. And we'll touch on that in a moment. More on page factors to consider is the title and meta tag. If you're going to capture the essence of your website in a few words, as few words as possible, you're golden. This is a great opportunity to really work in those keywords in the meta tag. A lot of the time when you're searching for, say, for example, a gaming PC, Google will highlight those keywords that you're looking for. Next is the URL structure, which is another aspect that matters, as when you're navigating from page to page, it makes it really clear where you are at all times. And lastly, image optimization is another key factor, as clarity is an important factor which search engines look for, those higher resolution images. So if you're able to create unique images or content, that's an added bonus. And this goes back to building that good user experience. No one wants to see a blurry or low quality image. Moreover, think of off-page SEO as aspects outside of your website. So areas such as directory listings like Google My Business, Bing, Yelp, Yellow Pages, Facebook, Foursquare, etc. And social media to get those, and also getting featured in blogs to have people, talk about your business would help a ton. Just being on those pages not only boosts your ranking, but also boosts your reputability as well. And then the third aspect being the technical side, just think of that as more of the structure side of your website. Think of things to consider would be site navigation. Are they able to, is your user able to get where they need to go on your website? Are they struggling to find basic information, such as whether or not your company offers free shipping? Is your website able to fit on a mobile device, tablet, desktop? Is there much information on each page that are sacrificing load times? So keeping it simple is definitely the way to go in terms of load times. So 4 steps to get started with SEO. I found this a really helpful tool, just kind of working backwards, because we know we just want to keep moving forwards, but it's good to just kind of take a step back and really understand your base first before you start building up. So the first step would be really knowing and understanding your product. Understanding your product inside and out will help you come up with content, help you come up with original content, and help you answer any questions and help you figure out what those keywords might be. And we'll give you a resource on how to find those keywords in a second. Knowing your audience would be the second step. Once you have your product down, then you'll start to realize, okay, who really needs my product and how can we target and tailor this content to make it for them, and why would they need it? And then this goes kind of hand in hand with the third step, creating quality over quantity. Sure, we get so caught up in, other businesses mass producing, all this content, but start small, start creating stuff that that your audience will really enjoy and will really resonate with them. So create meaningful posts that they will interact with. Find what content resonates with your audience. And then fourthly, stay inconsistent. Search engines reward, when you're active with, how often you do things. So making weekly blog posts, making social media posts, doing social media maybe 4 to 5 times is ideal. But if you say you're super busy and decide to do, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the days I'm going to make posts, and you do that consistently for a few months, then you'll start to see yourself, your ranking drastically improve from where you were originally. Elise?
Okay, if you go to the next slide, one important aspect of SEO is keywords. Search engines look for keywords in your website to determine what the site is about and how to categorize it. It's a good idea to pick a few main keywords to focus on. These keywords are words or phrases that are directly related to your business. You should put your keywords throughout your website. However, it is more important to put them near the top of your pages because that's what people will read first. Adding too many keywords is not good either, because then the website will be hard to read if every other word is a keyword. Another thing you should add are Lsi keywords. These are words that are closely related to your few main keywords. For example, if you're running an ice cream parlor, one of your main keywords is probably going to be ice cream. Some Lsi keywords could be summer, hot, dessert, delicious, because these words all relate to ice cream. Lastly, when you're just starting out, it's a good idea to pick longer keywords or phrases because they are less competitive online. For example, it's easier to get a higher rank on Google for a keyword like digital consultants rather than just digital, because more businesses will be using digital as a keyword.
So one really good keywords resource is Answer the Public. So what I really like about this is you can be as broad as possible and they'll help you narrow it down. And what's really nice about this too is that you can tailor it by geographic location or country. So if you're doing business in the US as well as Canada, you can also have, there'll be slight differences between what Americans are looking at and what Canadians are looking at. So the example that we have is for gaming PCs. Sorry, it's a little bit jammed, but which is a good thing because there's a lot to take out of it. In this example here, we're using gaming PCs, and there are different ways to trace back to the sole word of gaming PCs. It breaks down into the 5 W's: are, can, and how. So one example of a keyword that you can use in a blog can be what gaming PC to build, and then you can just implement that into a blog article. And the more consistent you are with that, the more higher it'll be on the Google rankings.
Next, another important part of SEO are links. Search engines grade you on how many other websites link to your website. If you want to get more links, you can find blogs or websites that are related to your business and email the owners and ask if they would like to link your website as a resource. You can also add links on public websites, which is a bit easier, such as Yelp, Yellow Pages, Facebook, and Instagram. Search engines also look at how long people stay on your website to see if they had a good experience. Here are some tips to help people have a good experience on your website. Number one is don't have a long, boring introduction. Get right into the helpful tips and tricks. Number two is include a hook near the beginning of the website. This is just anything that's interesting and going to keep people on the page and hopefully share the page. Number three is to have an attractive design that's also mobile friendly, as many people are viewing websites from their phones these days. Fourth is use unique eye-catching images. It's actually better to use images that you take yourself or that you create yourself as opposed to just free images or stock images. And lastly, use bullet points effectively to shorten your content and make it easy to read. So here are some takeaways from the presentation. Number one is to keep your name, address, and phone number consistent through all your platforms. Number two is to focus on creating great content. Three is to pick a few main keywords to focus on and put keywords at the beginning of your pages. Number four, do not have a long, boring introduction. Five is have an attractive design that is mobile friendly. And six is to use unique, eye-catching, high-quality images.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and learn more about the basics of SEO. We'd like to open up the floor if there are any questions. We will stick around. But yeah, thanks again so much for joining us.
Or if you want to introduce yourself and a little bit about your business, that would be fun too.
Sounds good. I have a question. I'll introduce myself and then I'll ask my question, which is the Christian Yellow Pages. We call the license agreement for all across Canada ourselves from our home office and with our staff.
Dawn, I'm sorry, it's a little bit tough to hear you because it keeps cutting in and out.
Oh, that's probably because we're driving. So I'll ask my question quick. Are you going to be sending that slideshow to us? It just went so fast that I had a hard time taking notes.
No, yeah. So it's recorded as well, and we will be sending out the PowerPoint.
Yeah, we're gonna send it by email if that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's perfect because there was really good information in there and I'm writing and I just couldn't keep up. So yeah, that would be awesome. That's my only question. And thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry that we went pretty fast through it all. I saw a question in the chat. It's any tips on website layout? So if it's just in general, not really related to SEO, but for your layout, you want to keep it really scannable and easy to read because people don't really want to read long paragraphs these days. So I would focus on doing big, bold titles for each of your section, and probably bullet points, lots of images. Unique images are the best, and icons as well. And your website should sort of tell your story. So you want to make the layout in a way that makes sense if you're going through it top to bottom, to focus on the problem that people come to your website having and how you solve that problem. And also to have lots of call to actions, which means lots of buttons telling the user what to do. So if you want them to register, there should be like register now all throughout the page. If you want them to like sign up for something, sign up all throughout the page. And that way users know what you want them to do. Hope that makes sense.
At this time, feel free to unmute your mic. Probably sometime early next week, if like Monday, Tuesday, around there. Oh, that was for you, Wayne. Yeah, we'll probably be sending it around like Monday, Tuesday. I'm seeing a trend towards a single page with links to various sections throughout vertically stacked info. Are these websites SEO friendly?
It is, I would say it's good in some ways because having less quality information is actually more important these days than having like a million different pages. And even there's something called zombie pages, which are just pages that are kind of dead on your website that nobody goes on anymore. And those can actually hurt your ranking. So in one way, it could be good because that reduces that because there's only one page. But in other ways, it could make it harder to share your website. If you just send them your link, people might, be confused which section you're sharing unless you have different anchors on the page.
Yeah,
So that's what
I
I
was
would
gonna
say.
say it does go both ways, and like Elise mentioned, it all kind of boils down to the URL structure. So if I go back, so if you have, a few little bits, so say maybe like like 3 or 4 items that are anchors that'll take you to a page, and it's not that much information, that's fine. But when your page really starts to drag on, it's probably best to have different categories to make it easier for your user to go back and forth from. So if you look in the URL structure here, there are apples, so that's your category, and then your subcategory would be like Royal Gala or Granny Smith, or if you have all these apples on one page, it just makes it seem so much longer, and you're just constantly scrolling and scrolling. But it's just easier to if you separate it by each page, sort of it'll make it easier on the user in the end. Does that make sense? Hopefully I answered your question. Okay.
Great.
Wayne, I can link you or at least, do you want to link the digital consultant's website to Wayne?
Sure.
Or if you just want to go to digitalconsultants.ca, we'll also link it for you.
Yeah, and we're a digital marketing company. So like under our services, we do website design, social media, SEO, content marketing, promotion design, and then we can also do apps.
Yeah.
And if you want more information on our company, you can also send us an email or fill out the form on our website, and we'll definitely love to connect with you one-on-one.
Yeah, if you ever want to get a hold of me as well and have any more questions about SEO, I left my email in the chat. So yeah, next week you'll be getting the PDF of the presentation, a recording of the presentation, as well as the Q&A, as well as a little bit of some resources to help get you going. But other than that, that's all we have for you today. Are there any more final questions before we head off? No problem, Wayne. Glad you can make it.
Yeah, well, thank you everyone for coming today.